Okay guys, I'm gonna give you a small view of my garden. Normally it would be way higher than this. The tomato plants always get about 5 feet 5 or 5 feet 6 inches tall up in the air, and by this time I'd already be harvesting a lot of tomatoes. But this year the winter was pretty long. We were still getting snow in June, and we didn't plant until sometime in June, and we got some hailstorm right afterward that knocked the tomato plants down. We have to replace them. So here we go. I'll go ahead and show you individual plants. This right here is a tomatillo plant. That's what they used to make green chili. I'll show you some fruits on it. They're always late, so they're just starting to produce. See, my garden's like a big jungle. This is my grapevine. We have some small grapes on it. This is the second year for it. We did have a bigger plant here and it died, so we replaced it with this one last year, and as you can see, it is doing really good on the garden fence. I don't have a lot of grapes on it right now, but that's a bunch right there. Here's some other ones down here. So every year when it comes back, it will produce more. Alright, so I'm going to slowly go through and show you what I got. So right here, these are kohlrabi plants. This is the first year I'm trying them. We started these from seeds, so they're not really putting on much, if anything, on them yet. It's gonna farm right there. I'll show you some later that are doing a little bit better that we buy the plants. Here is some other ones. This is my eggplant. So right now I do have a lot of eggplants on here. There's a lot of fruits on this one. It is loaded, and it's a miniature plant. It's not that big of a plant. Here's one that is a little bigger of a plant, as you can see, and it just started producing. So it's a different type. As you can see, the one on this here, it is pretty big, but the ones on these are really small, skinny eggplant. My tomato plants has a lot of tomatoes on them. They got a lot of tomatoes. They're still green. There's one that is slowly turning, but I'll get to some other ones and let you see. But there's some ripe ones. Here's some other kohlrabi that I did transplant it out of where the seed patch was. So these are coming up a little better. And we have green onions here. In the Caribbean we call them scallion. Here they say green onions. Over here, these tomato plants came up on their own from seeds in the garden, from rotted tomato from years ago. This is my compost pile. So I'll put this in the garden in the spring. I'll spread it out this fall, and I will till it in next spring. And that is all eggshell, banana peel, potato peel, everything that can rot is there. Right here, this is basil. Lots of basil. They can be harvested now, but I haven't harvested any of them because I don't really use them. But lots of basil. And here we got some butter squash. So we got quite a few squash in here. There we go. There's more squash. There's another one up under there. More tomato. We have a cabbage right there. I'll go on one side down and then we'll come back up the other side. Then we have more tomatoes. Some of them are turning. Not much. But we do have a lot of green tomato, you see? Got some nice bunches of green tomato. There we go. Big tomatoes are coming. So this is a tomatillo plant, and the fruit is inside of this here. And when they get ready, they get real big on the bottom, splits open, and then you can harvest them and make your green chili. So now I'll show you some cucumber. So there we go. There's a cucumber on the ground. Up on this thing here is a few more. So lots of cucumber. Here's another one. So I'm gonna have to give away a lot of these because they are too much for me. There's another one.
There's another little one, and there's gonna be quite a bit more in the bush here, but I'm not gonna spend time searching around to find every single one. There's another one right there, and more. These are onions. As you can see, the onions are on the bottom of them. Normally they get bigger than that, but those are just some little extra one we had, and we just throw them there and see what would happen with them. There we go. We got more tomato getting ripe. Tomatoes. And guys, this is all organic. I don't use any fertilizer on it. All I use is just compost. I don't have a compost bin. I just throw them in here during the winter. I just throw them right in here, and then I put all the leaves from my trees and the neighbor's tree in here. These are beets. So there you can see the beets on the bottom. They're not ready yet. I probably could use the big ones now if I wanted to, but I'll let them stay there and keep growing. There's another cabbage, lots of hole in that one from the bugs. There's another one coming. And here's more beets. Man, I got a lot of beets. These haven't started producing yet much of anything yet. As I said, we started off late with the winter. There we got some tomatoes under here. Look at the size of this one, how big. I hope I don't break it off, because it's still green, but it is very big. Look at the size of this one compared to my fist next to it. You can see that it's big. And look at this. So those are some nice ones. Here we have a bunch of small cherry tomato that are ready to pick, but I'll let them stay there and ripe some more. I can see that some of them, the birds are eating on them, but that's okay. See, tomatoes. Here are some of my green beans. I've been harvesting like a 5-gallon buckets out of it every week. See, the plants are getting older now, so they're not producing as much, and we just got quite a bit of rainfall in the last few days, and I need to water my garden too, so I might turn the water on when I get out of here. This one here, it came up on its own. I did not plant this, because all the ones I planted are the ones with the cage over them. So the seeds from in the garden from old plants, they just keep coming up. Here is a really nice tomato plant. This one is real bushy. There's 2 of them close by. So there's tomatoes coming up in it. So guys, what I use for my compost is I just dump anything that can rot that I use in the kitchen right back into the garden. And then I go to the landfill and get a lot of compost, because you can buy compost from them and it's really cheap, and it helps the garden to drain. So your soil drain, it doesn't bind up, and your roots can spread more. There we got some more tomatoes. There, they just starting to turn. Lots of tomatoes. But normally it's like twice the amount they produce. And we already be harvesting, as I said earlier. But I am still grateful for what we're getting, because normally, here we go, we got another cabbage and we have a bigger one right there. And this is all my watering system that I set up, and I have a few heads through the place, and I just turn the faucet on and let it do its thing. There we go. Here's more tomato. So yeah, the tomatoes are doing good. Now I'm gonna show you some squash, not squash, zucchini. It's kind of hard to see them in all the bush here that I got, but there you go. Those are some zucchini. Those are ready to pick. Here's 2 more that are really big. Let me see if I get my knife out. My pocket. And then I probably could harvest them off. Because you don't want them to get too big on the bush. I should use like my little clipper, but it's kind of hard doing this with the clipper. while I'm recording. So I'll just use my knife. I already got it figured out before I come out here. Use my knife and cut them off. See, that's another big one. Look at this now coming out. And when you harvest them off, it helps the plants them to produce more. Because having all these on there, they're just taking away from the plant, from what it would need to grow the other small ones and to produce new flowering. So you see, that's 3. And I got another big one here. I just gotta be careful when I cut them off. I don't cut the tree, cut wrong on it, and kill the plant from producing. There we go. Here we go. That's another one. So look at that. Now I'm gonna have to give them to my neighbor. So my neighbor gets a lot of my stuff them here because it's too much for me, you know. So I got to give some of it away. Can't eat it all. There's another squash. This one just started producing, so this is a different type of squash. So I think this is a spaghetti squash. So it has that one, and there's another one. I'm trying not to step on the vines. So these are romaine lettuce here. Here's another part of the row. And then what do I got here? These are called callaloo. These are Jamaican vegetable. It's like a spinach, but it's a really good vegetable. You find it in the Caribbean. You don't find it much of anywhere else. And you see here I got a ladybug. Let me see. You see that? Ladybug, and you don't want to destroy your ladybugs. You have a lot of ladybugs in here. They eat the other bugs. If you have your garden and you see ladybugs in it, just leave them alone. It won't eat your plant. They'll just eat the other bugs. These are some newly green beans that I planted. So these are just starting to produce. So this row here is the last I put in weeks after I put the older rows in. So soon I'll be picking green beans off those. As you can see here, it's loaded with little ones. Look at that. This is an okra plant. I did plant a lot of okra, but I don't know. They keep dying off, and then there was a mole or something coming up in here heating down my plants. I think I got him, but there's probably more. Yeah, so I'll go down the line and show you other stuff. I'll come back around and pick those up in a second here. Well, I picked my tomato. This one, something ate out a part of it, so I'll be throwing that away. So I'll pick the ones that look like they're ready to be picked. This one, it can stay in the house and ripe some more. Those are ready to go. And I'm gonna throw that one. Then my green beans here on the fence, as you can see, this plant is dried up. Why? My little puppy come out and chew on the vines and eat them off. So then that caused that part to die. As you can see, there's other green beans in here. These are some other new plants just starting to produce. More green beans. More tomato. More tomato. Some of these I can probably leave them, but I'll pick them. So there you go, guys. Those are all my vegetables.